For your team research project, you will need to find information that is available at government agencies. Because many environmental issues are overseen by multiple departments and agencies, it is useful to have a tool that will help you determine the agency overlap for your topic and also give you access to information created or collected by the government. USA.gov is a search engine that combs through the publicly available information published by government departments and agencies. It will help you figure out which departments and agencies regulate the relevant area for your topic, which fund the research, and collect the data that you need. In your Environmental Science 201 LibGuide, there is a tab for websites. And in the recommended websites for environmental science, there are many good sources here, but USA.gov is second from the end. And if you click on that, you'll be at a dedicated search engine that only searches for government published information. We'll do a search for mountaintop removal mining. The results for this search come from a variety of departments and agencies. They include reports and overviews, links to published articles, collected data, graphics, and many, many primary and secondary sources. A quick look at the results. We start with surface coal mining in Appalachia at the US EPA. There's also, in number 2 spot, mountaintop removal mining from NASA. There is mountaintop removal mining, a PDF, and reading through it doesn't say what department in the subject line, but in the URL are clues to what agency it came from. EHP, NIEHS, NIH-GOV is Environmental Health Perspectives from the National Institute of Environmental Health Services, part of the National Institutes of Health of our government. Our results from searching for mountaintop removal mining gives us a variety of sources from different agencies and departments. We have information from the EPA, from NASA, from the NIH, which is the National Institutes for Health, from PubMed Central, which is a database also at the National Institutes of Health. So let's look at some of these. Let's see what the EPA has for us. We come to a page that has a collection of some very good information. Under basic information, it will give us a link to what is surface coal mining. It tells it contrasts it with underground mining methods, and also then gives us a graphic that explains what it looks like when we mine from the top down. It describes it and defines it. It gives us the 5 basic steps. Also in this section are environmental impacts of surface mining. It talks about springs and streams that are permanently lost, the concentration of major chemical ions downstream, degraded water quality that are actually lethal, selenium concentrations are elevated that cause toxic effects in fish and birds, and as well as the macroinvertebrate and fish communities. In addition, forests are lost and habitats are changed from forest to grasslands due to the nature of reclamation. Going back to the splash page for surface mining at the EPA, we also see federal resources. And it includes the U.S. Department of Interior, Office of Surface Mining Reclamation Enforcement. When I began this search, I did not realize that we had an office that was devoted entirely to surface mining, enforcing the laws for surface mining, and overseeing the reclamation of land that has been mined. And also, I didn't realize that it would be at the Department of Interior rather than at EPA. Also, there is a link to Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act and related laws, regulation, and guidance. One of the things needed for the project are the laws and legislation, regulations that govern it. Also a link to the Army Corps of Engineers, who are also involved in regulating and permitting for surface mining. The APA also has links to the memorandums that define the relationships between Department of Army, Department of Interior, and the EPA in implementing surface mining, which will be a useful thing for my topic. It also lists the major laws, the National Environmental Protection Act from 2005, and also mentions the Clean Water Act. These are the major pieces of legislation involved in surface mining, in controlling and regulating surface mining. Going back to the landing page at the EPA, we also see that there are state resources. This is a great resource because the states are required to report many different kinds of environmental information, data that they collect about their own state, to the federal government, and the federal government acts as a clearinghouse for this information. Returning to our results list, we see that NASA is in the list. NASA can create wonderful primary sources for us using satellite data, including on coal in Appalachia. This is a graphic that they've created from their satellite images. Notice the date underneath. It's June 6th, 1987. It shows the area that had been mined using mountaintop removal up to that date. When we move over the graphic, move the mouse over the graphic, we see that in May of 2002, part of that area has been reclaimed. It also looks like another larger area that wasn't mined then was mined and is in the process of reclamation. And we have a large and a smaller area where mountaintop mining is occurring at that point and has not yet been reclaimed. Although the ones that we've looked at so far were all at the top of the list, it's worth the time spent to scroll down a little bit, just to be sure that you're not missing something good. Here's the Office of Surface Mining that we learned about from the EPA. For instance, here's a press release from Congressman John Yarmuth, a representative from Kentucky. And when we click on it, we learn that scientists are looking at mountaintop removal, the dust, as promoting lung cancer. However, a press release is not the best kind of source. However, one thing learned in this article is that there is a bill before Congress at the moment that concerns mountaintop mining. That would be an interesting thing for this research to look at. Merely typing mountaintop removal into Google might have led to us missing a lot of this information from various agencies and departments. Be aware, though, that a government agency which is helpful for one topic may not help with another. For example, searching for wolves, Yellowstone, brings up information from the National Park Service, as Yellowstone is a national park. There's many great resources covering the restoration of wolves into our national park, and tells you all kinds of information that would be useful if this were your topic. However, let's go back. If you search Florida Everglades, you also get information from the National Park Service. However, notice what the topics are. The Everglades Park tours. Plan your visit to the Everglades National Park. Fishing in the Everglades National Park. Directions to it. Camping information. Concession tours. Points of interest. This is all marketing and tourism information. In order to get more scientific information about the Everglades, you could type in something like water quality. Okay. We now have information still from the National Park Service, but also from FSW would be Fish and Wildlife Service. We have information from the EPA. We have information from the Department of State of Florida, the state of Florida. And as the Florida DEP would be the agency on the ground collecting water samples, they would be a very good source to work with to get information about water quality in the Everglades. You'd also probably want to add some add another search, possibly for wildlife and the Florida Everglades. So we have animals in the national park, we have wildlife images, national park, but we also have the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. We have amphibians. They focus on various species. Conservation in Florida from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I hope you found the information given about USA.gov enough that you're willing to use it as a tool in your searches. If you have any questions, you can contact me at cmfox@hack.edu. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.